Listen before we dive in. I want you to picture something. You're standing on the shore, watching someone drown. Their hands are clawing at the water, their mouth barely above the waves. They're begging silently for help. Would you throw them a lifeline? Most people say yes. But what if? What if the drowning person didn't want to be saved? Today, we need to talk about Carol. Because whether the world wants to admit it or not, Carol is drowning. And the most terrifying part, she might be pulling the rest of humanity under with her. Welcome back to the most dangerously addictive mystery on television, where happiness is a virus, misery is a weapon, and one woman's broken heart might be the last thing standing between humanity and eternal bliss. But before you get comfortable, ask yourself this. Why would anyone fight against a world where everyone is happy, control, grieved, or something darker? Because if there's one thing this episode makes brutally clear, it's this. Carol doesn't want to save the world. She wants to prove the world wrong. And honestly, she might succeed. Theok, even G. Here's the thing people forget about Carol. She wasn't always the cynical, sharp-tongued, permanently exhausted anti-hero we see now. There was a time, yes, hard to believe, when Carol actually tried to be happy. We open on a memory from years before the happiness virus existed. A frozen hotel in Norway, northern lights in the sky, a romantic getaway with Helen, the one person who could pull Carol out of her own mind long enough to breathe. Helen is glowing, laughing, touching the ice walls like she's inside a dream. Carol is complaining about the bed temperature and how she wasted too much money on the trip. Classic. Predictable. Painfully on brand. But here's the twist the show wants us to catch. Carol wasn't miserable because she hated happiness. She was miserable because she didn't know how to hold on to it. And if you've ever been that person, the one who ruins good moments because you're scared they won't last, you know exactly what kind of pain that is. And here's where it gets suspicious. While the sky glows in shades of purple, the camera lingers on Carol's face for just a second too long. And for that one moment, she looks happy. Not hysterical happy. Not hive mind happy. Just genuinely alive. And I need you to answer this in the comments, because I want to see if it's just me. Did Carol want happiness all along, but not the kind the hive mind forces on people? Tell me below. I'm curious who agrees. THEFRSTEORY. Ain't IT's DRK. Let's get one thing straight. The hive mind believes Carol is drowning, and for once they might be right. Think about it. Why is Carol the only person on Earth who can resist the virus? Why does her brain reject bliss like a poisoned meal? Why does she cling to misery like it's oxygen? What if Carol isn't immune? What if she's broken? What if the virus can't rewrite her? Because something inside her is already shattered beyond repair. That's the theory nobody wants to say out loud. So let me be the villain. Carol isn't special. She's traumatized. And trauma makes you unpredictable. A CCRT, yo now T supposed Tioni. There's a detail everyone missed. In the Norway flashback, Carol casually jokes she could have frozen her eggs in the frost-covered hotel suite. Ha, right? Except why does the camera linger? Why does Helen go quiet? Why does Carol look away? The subtext is loud enough for the entire internet to hear. Carol and Helen wanted a family. They tried. And something happened. A failure, a loss. A fracture deep enough to shape the rest of Carol's life. No virus needed. Her grief infected her long before the world ever did. Tell me in the comments, do you think Carol's immunity is emotional or biological? THCOLDTOI, ANITCHEA guessy rewatching the episode, I caught something the writers slipped in like a whisper cold. Extreme cold. The guide in Norway says cold awakens haunchant nerves, reconnecting humans with primal instincts. They laugh, they shrug. But this is television. Nothing is said by accident. Let me ask you a question. What if cold environments disrupt the happiness virus? Not kill it. Just weaken it. Just enough for people to think for themselves again. And here's where it gets chilling. The hive mind avoids cold locations. Every infected character gravitates toward warmth. Every hive-controlled community is in mild climates. Coincidence? Please, the writers don't do coincidence. Now we snap back to present day. The countdown resets day 3. R3. The new world is settling into bliss. Carol is on a plane with actual professional pilots this time. Not a TGI Fridays bartender who accidentally became a co-pilot thanks to the hive. But does Carol feel safer? Of course not. Carol is swallowing pills, asking questions nobody wants answered, and hunting for the only other uninfected person, Manisos. A man so stubborn, so joyless, so impossible to manipulate, that the hive mind can't even track his emotions. If misery had a twin brother, Manisos would be it. He ignores Carol's first call, rejects the second, blocks the third. And I'm telling you right now, those two are destined to collide. Because if the world is drowning in forced happiness, Manisos is the only person more broken than Carol. And broken attracts broken. STOPRE. I need you because now we're entering the part of the story nobody is ready for. The part where happiness stops looking innocent and starts looking predatory, alright? But remember, you asked for this. Tiakela Taakksing Manusos. The ghost, the outlier, the man the hive mind can't access. Carol calls him again. This time, he picks up. Low. No greeting. No human warmth. Just breathing. Two people with the emotional range of wet sand staring into the void through a phone speaker. And then, in a voice that sounds like gravel being crushed under boots, he says, "Whatever you want, I don't have it." Carol freezes. Not because of what he said, but why he said it. How does he know she wants something? How does he predict her motives? How does he mirror her cynicism with such surgical precision? Unless, and stay with me here, Manisos is just like her. Too damaged to infect. Too fractured to rebuild. A walking glitch in a perfect system. And that's when the first dangerous thought slithers into Carol's mind. What if she isn't alone? What if the hive mind is wrong about her? What if she's not the problem, but the prototype? Hold that thought, you'll need it later. Tichi Pileni, Anduudu Edited. While everyone is busy analyzing the virus, the infection, the glowing eyes, there's something far more disturbing happening on the plane. Carol is taking pills, not vitamins, not antibiotics. Pills she hides. Pills she doesn't explain. Ask yourself, why would the one person immune to a happiness virus need medication, sleep, anxiety, pain? Not Carol. Carol doesn't medicate weakness. She weaponizes it. And the look in her eyes says everything. She's preparing for something. Something she won't admit. Something she might not survive. UBATAVD Menars Most. Let's make something brutally clear. The hive mind doesn't hate Carol. It fears her. The same way an immune system fears a parasite. Not because the parasite is strong, but because it refuses to die. Think about it. The hive mind is designed to spread joy, unity, emotional clarity. But Carol is a void, a walking black hole. A person who consumes good moments and spits out ash. And do you know the most terrifying biological truth? The thing every organism fears. You cannot control what you cannot predict. Carol is unpredictable. Not because she is brave. Not because she is strong. No. Carol is unpredictable because she is emotionally unstable in a way no algorithm can compute. And the hive mind knows it. THD conspirata, a don't one. Yo TOSYOT load. This is where things get dangerous. So if you're still watching, you're in deep. The writers are hiding something in plain sight. We've seen the flashbacks. We've heard the hints. We've watched the countdown bouncing around like a broken clock. What if? And this will flip your brain. The virus is natural. What if it's cyclical? What if humanity goes through happiness waves the same way